Most of what you hear about the current global tension is noise. Media pundits call it madness or greed, but if you look through the eyes of a strategic analyst, a much colder logic is at play. We have re-entered the era of conquest, and the world's hegemons are now in a race to solve the problem of their toxic assets. Hello friends, welcome back to another episode from History Talk and Common Sense. You might still think that Donald Trump's aggressive behavior regarding the acquisition of specific countries or geopolitical hotspots stems from political madness, personal resource acquisition, or lobbyist influence. It does not. The Trump administration is mandated to rescue America by urgently addressing the problem of toxic assets. We have entered a specific window of time, the resurgence of the era of hegemonic conquest. To understand this, we must define a toxic asset in a geopolitical context. Let's look at Canada. In the global orders of the past few centuries, Canada has never been a truly independent nation. Despite media narratives, it has never been a democracy in the purest sense. It has always been a resource colony for the Anglo-American Empire. Today, it has become a toxic asset. This perspective isn't found on news networks because it lacks mainstream acceptability. When Trump speaks of integration Canada, people react with skepticism. But the reality is that the world has re-entered the era of conquest. The four cycles of global order are 1. World wars. 2. Competition between victors to establish a new order. 3. A period of stability under the established order. 4. The rise of new rivals and the weakening of the order, eventually leading back to World War. We are currently in Phase 4. Before a full-scale World War, there is a limited window of regional conflicts where the era of conquest begins. During this time, the previous order crumbles and the propaganda fades. Allegedly independent countries are revealed for what they are, the hegemonic assets. Some of you might be wondering, what is a geopolitical toxic asset? Borrowed from the financial realm, a toxic asset refers to a territory, resource, or ally whose maintenance costs, be they military, economic, or political, far exceed its strategic value. This toxic asset serves as a significant burden, depleting the hegemon's resources and rendering it susceptible to its adversaries. Weak allies. Regimes that require constant bailouts or military intervention without strategic return. Contested zones, territories that trigger sanctions or drain diplomatic capital. Obsolete bases, military installations that no longer serve a strategic purpose but consume vast resources. This explains Trump's interest in Greenland, Canada, or South America. He is an executor of a necessity. Any leader in his position would eventually face these same pressures from the deep power centers of the U.S. This is how a hegemon views the world map. This logic also applies to Iran as well. After regaining independence with the 1979 revolution, Iran must address its own toxic assets during the era of conquest if it is to cement its place as a growing power in the new global order. To move from a regional power to a superpower, as China has done in the last decade, Iran must attain nuclear deterrence and fix its territorial and political leaks. The pressure currently exerted on Iran is not a sign of weakness, but a catalyst for civilizational flourishing. Just as the loss of senior commanders led to an updated, more aggressive missile policy, current pressures will push Iran to be more offensive. It will move to resolve its toxic assets, the severed civilizational zones, ending the era of polite diplomacy, where leaders sought Western approval at the cost of national strength. The current hardships are the birth pains of a new era. We are witnessing the end of the submissive foreign policy and the beginning of a resurgent, civilizational Iran. We have seen how modern hegemons gamble with toxic assets on the global stage. But this era of conquest isn't new. It's a sequel. However, this time there are a few more players involved, and each has different ideologies. Thank you for watching. Your likes, shares, and comments. Subscribe to History Talk and Common Sense, and let's decode the logic of power together.